Have you ever looked at your life and wondered why it feels so heavy, so unfair, while others seem to float through without effort? You try to be kind, you try to work hard, you give more than you take, and yet somehow you end up with less money, less recognition, less companionship. Meanwhile, the loud, the shallow, the ones who only look out for themselves seem to thrive. If you've ever sat with that thought, why am I being punished for being good? Then let me tell you something that might shake you awake. You're not cursed. You're not broken. You might just be chosen. Now, being chosen isn't about being special in some ego-driven way. It's not a medal, not a reward, not even a privilege. It's a calling. And that calling rarely looks glamorous when it first shows up. In fact, most of the time, it looks like confusion, rejection, loss, and silence. Chosen ones walk a path that doesn't make sense to the crowd because it's not for the crowd. It's for your soul. While others chase trends, money, and validation, your soul is being pulled toward truth, depth, and purpose. That's why the road feels heavier. That's why your steps seem slower. Because your journey isn't about fitting in. It's about transforming. At first, it doesn't feel like a blessing at all. It feels like isolation, like doors closing, like people leaving. It feels like a storm that never ends. But here's the paradox. That storm isn't here to destroy you. It's here to strip away everything false so the real you can finally rise. And when you understand that, suddenly the pain has meaning. Suddenly the silence has purpose. So if you've been wondering why life feels harder for you than for others, remember this. Your path was never designed for comfort. It was designed for growth. And that growth begins in the shadows. Let's talk about loneliness, the kind that creeps in even when you're surrounded by people, the kind that makes you feel like a stranger in your own life. When you're chosen, this isn't an accident. It's not because you're unlovable or doing something wrong. It's because your soul is being pulled away from the noise of the world so you can finally hear yourself. The chatter, the gossip, the endless small talk that once felt normal now feels empty. You find yourself sitting in a room full of conversation, but feeling like you're speaking another language. And that's exactly the point. Silence is the first gift of awakening, though it rarely feels like a gift at first. It feels like punishment. It feels like rejection. Friends drift away. Family doesn't understand. Crowds drain you. Even your favorite places no longer feel the same. But in truth, life is clearing space around you, clearing distractions, clearing false connections, clearing the clutter so you can tune in to the one voice that matters, your own soul's voice. Think about the great teachers, healers, and visionaries of history. Most of them spent long seasons in solitude. Why? Because wisdom is born in silence. Power is cultivated in stillness. And when you're chosen, you don't get the luxury of filling your life with noise. You're asked to sit with yourself, to meet yourself, to endure the discomfort of being alone until you realize you were never truly alone at all. It's in those quiet nights when the loneliness stings the most that something sacred begins to form, a deeper awareness, a stronger intuition, a mind that doesn't panic in silence but learns to rest in it. You're not being abandoned, you're being prepared to carry clarity into a world addicted to distraction. So if you've been feeling isolated, if it feels like life pulled you out of the crowd, don't mistake it for punishment. It's training. And in that training ground of silence, your power is growing. Now, let's talk about something most people are too afraid to admit: money. Or more specifically, the lack of it. Have you noticed that chosen ones often struggle financially, especially in the early stages of their awakening? It's not because you're lazy, it's not because you lack talent, and it's definitely not because you're doomed to a life of struggle. The truth is, money is energy, and until your energy aligns with your purpose, the flow will stay blocked. Think about it. It's easy to feel confident when your bank account is full, but who are you when it's empty? What do you believe about yourself when success isn't measured in numbers, titles, or possessions? This is where the test lies. The universe strips you of false securities so you stop chasing status and start remembering your true worth. Because if your value is tied to the size of your paycheck, then you'll always be a prisoner to the system. But when you learn that you are enough, even in lack, you become unshakable. Financial struggle teaches you trust. It forces you to redefine abundance. Instead of chasing what you don't have, you start to notice what you do. The meal on your table, the roof over your head, the breath in your lungs. Suddenly, these become sacred. Gratitude replaces fear, and slowly, your energy shifts from lack to alignment. But here's the deeper reason. If money flowed to you easily before you awakened, you would have used it to fuel the old self, the ego, the mask, the distractions. That's why the universe cuts it off. It's not to punish you, it's to protect you. Because you're not meant to hoard wealth just to flex. You're meant to channel it, to use it as a tool for healing, freedom, and service. And before you can hold that responsibility, you must first be emptied. So if you're struggling right now, breathe. This is temporary. This is training. You're not being starved. You're being purified. And when the alignment comes, the flow returns, not to trap you, but to empower you. Why me? That's the question every chosen one asks at some point. You didn't ask for this path. You didn't wake up one morning saying, please give me the hardest lessons, the deepest loneliness, the most confusing storms. Yet here you are. And it feels unfair, doesn't it? Like you're carrying a weight no one else even sees. But here's the truth. You weren't chosen because you asked for it. You were chosen because your soul is strong enough to carry it. See, in a world of copies, illusions, and masks, authenticity is rare. And authenticity costs something. It requires sacrifice, silence, rejection, and often heartbreak. But it also gives something back: clarity, depth, compassion, and resilience. Chosen ones are not placed on the easy road because the easy road doesn't shape warriors of light. Growth doesn't happen under the spotlight. It happens in the shadows. Have you noticed how you struggle to connect with people now? Small talk drains you. Gossip irritates you. Parties feel pointless. It's not because you're antisocial. It's because your frequency has shifted. You crave depth, truth, stillness. But real people, the kind who live from their soul, are rare. That's why you often walk alone. Not because you're broken, but because your path is sacred. And here's the paradox. The very things that make you feel different are the proof that you are chosen. Your sensitivity, your questions, your longing for truth, those are not weaknesses. They're signs. Signs that you're carrying something bigger than yourself, something the world desperately needs but doesn't even know it's missing. So when you ask, why me? Remember this. You were chosen because your soul can hold what others cannot, because your pain can transform into wisdom, because your loneliness can turn into strength, and because your life, as messy and difficult as it feels, is preparing you to light the way for others. Let's get real about one of the hardest parts of being chosen, the misunderstandings. When your energy shifts, when your priorities change, when you stop chasing what everyone else is chasing, people notice, but they don't always understand. Friends might say you've changed. Family might think you're distant. Strangers might label you too quiet, too deep, or even too intense. And all of this can leave you wondering, am I the problem? But here's the thing, you're not the problem. You're just awakening in a world that's still asleep. Trying to explain your clarity to someone who hasn't yet tasted it is like trying to describe color to someone who's only ever seen in black and white. They won't get it. Not because they don't care, but because they're not ready. And that's okay. When you stop reacting the way you used to, when you don't take the bait in arguments, when gossip no longer interests you, it unsettles people. They may try to provoke you just to pull you back into the old energy, because your calm reminds them of their own chaos. Your silence feels like a mirror, and not everyone is ready to see what's reflected there. That's why misunderstandings happen, not because you've lost yourself, but because you've found yourself. Yes, it hurts to feel unseen, unheard, even judged for simply being. But that pain is also a compass. It's showing you that you no longer belong to the old patterns, the old conversations, the old environments. You've outgrown them, and though that growth feels lonely, it's actually proof that you're moving forward. So the next time someone misunderstands you, resist the urge to shrink. Don't dilute your truth to make others comfortable. Your path was never meant to be understood by everyone. It was meant to be lived by you. And the ones who are meant for your frequency, they'll recognize it without you saying a single word. Now let's talk about purpose, the one thing that weighs heavy on every chosen soul. While others seem to map out their lives with neat timelines, school, career, marriage, retirement, you've probably noticed your path doesn't follow that script. You're not interested in ticking boxes just to say you did. You want more. You want meaning. You want to know why you're here. And that search can make your journey feel slow, unclear, even frustrating at times. Chosen ones rarely discover their purpose overnight. Instead, it unfolds like walking through fog. You can't see the whole road, just the next step. And that's by design. If you could see the full picture, you'd try to control it, to force it, to plan it into neat little goals. But the soul's purpose isn't something you chase. It's something you align with. It's revealed when you're ready, not when you're impatient. That's why your path often feels delayed compared to others. You watch people climb ladders, buy houses, post highlight reels online, and you wonder, am I behind? But you're not behind. You're becoming. Every detour, every delay, every quiet season is shaping you. It's stripping away false desires, so when your true calling finally arrives, you'll recognize it instantly. And here's the beautiful irony. The very confusion that frustrates you is also what deepens you, because in the not knowing, you're forced to listen inward. You're forced to trust something higher than logic, and that trust becomes the foundation of your purpose. So if you feel like you're wandering, breathe. You're not lost. You're being led. The fog you're walking through isn't hiding your path. It is your path. And every step, even the shaky ones, is carrying you closer to the life your soul came here to live. There comes a moment on every chosen one's path when the pieces begin to click. Not all at once, not in some dramatic lightning bolt of revelation, but slowly, quietly, like dawn breaking after the longest night. You look back on your struggles, the loneliness, the financial droughts, the misunderstandings, the endless questions, and for the first time, they make sense. You realize you were never being punished. You were being prepared. Every loss was a clearing. Every delay was a lesson. Every silence was an invitation to grow roots deeper than you thought possible. This is the turning point, the moment when you stop asking, why me, and start whispering, thank you. Thank you for the strength forged in solitude. Thank you for the wisdom carved out of pain. Thank you for the faith born in seasons of lack. Because without those shadows, you wouldn't carry the light you do now. Without the breaking, you wouldn't know how to heal. Without the emptiness, you wouldn't know the fullness of alignment. And here's what's wild. Once you step into this awareness, your external world begins to shift. Opportunities appear that feel aligned instead of forced. People enter your life who see your essence without you having to perform. Even money begins to flow again, not as a master you chase, but as a servant that supports your purpose. This is when you finally understand that abundance was never outside of you. It was waiting for you to come home to yourself. So if you're standing at that edge right now, exhausted from the storms, wondering if it's all worth it, let this be your reminder. You are closer than you think. The pain wasn't wasted. The silence wasn't empty. The struggle wasn't meaningless. It was shaping you into someone unshakable. And soon, when you look back, you'll see it clearly. The old life had to fall apart so the true one could begin. This is not the end. It's the becoming. And the life that's waiting for you, it's not just better, it's yours.